Hello and welcome to the UJ Lucky Star Cooking Show. UJ What's Cooking? The University of Johannesburg has partnered with Lucky Star, South Africa's most iconic brand, to bring you the best way to cook better, affordable and delicious meals. Whether you're a parent or a student looking for best and different ways of cooking a tasty pilchard, making mouth-watering salads, and or trying out new dishes, this show is for you. In this series of our UJ Lucky Star Cooking Show with STH and the Center for Ecological Intelligence, we will have meaningful conversations that leave you inspired to do more in your space, and of course cooking up a storm using the best quality Lucky Star products such as pilchard, tuna, chakalaka, beans, and corned meat. These products offer various flavors from the zesty hot chili and peri-peri to tangy sweet chili and tomato sauce for a homely, aromatic, and delicious meal. This is UJ TV. In today's episode, we have Professor Oluwafemi Adebo, the Director of Center for Innovative Food Research and a Y1 NRF-rated researcher right here at the great University of Johannesburg. His research focuses on improving various food processes, food product development geared towards health promotion, and value adding using conventional, novel, and fourth industrial revolution approaches, as well as three-dimensional food printing and other innovative solutions to address food insecurity. He also teaches modules related to food science and technology. Food is a powerful social connector, bringing people together and shaping cultural norms through shared meals and traditions. It plays a significant role in building relationships, strengthening communities, and even impacting individual well-being. We will do exactly that with Prof Adebo in this episode. Prof, thank you for joining us today. I'm happy to have you, and I can't wait to hear more from you, especially because you run a very important center here at the university. Today's episode, we are going to prepare a corned beef and chakalaka veggie rice wraps prepared by a chef right here at the University of Johannesburg School of Tourism and Hospitality, Chef Thando Ntsele. The ingredients include 1 can of tinned corned beef, 1 can of tinned chakalaka, rice paper spring roll wraps, fresh lettuce or spinach leaves, avocado slices, cherry tomatoes, cucumber sticks, low-fat yogurt, fresh herbs, lemon or lime wedges. Please just briefly tell us about the services that your center provides to the university academic environment.
Thank you so very much for having me. It's still morning, so good morning to you. Good morning to UJ TV. My name is Oluwafemi Adebo, as you rightly said, and indeed the Director for Center for Innovative Food Research. In the center, we explore quite a lot, dealing with improving food processes, product development, perhaps is a core of what we do, exploring what we have, our indigenous foods, your legumes, your cereals, your vegetables, and different products that have these nutritional benefits in them that are not really used. We're trying to reintroduce that into the food system through product development. By so doing, we also improve different food processes. Perhaps there are certain processes that are currently happening. There could be other ways to optimize them. Introducing certain things in between the value chain that can give us a nutritious or a nutrient-dense food, as we call it. Not only that, we also explore food for health. That is the concept of food is medicine, which is something that it's been there for quite a while, but perhaps globalization and people are actually starting to evolve into that space a bit more. Hence, we are also dabbing into that, where we are actually deliberately tailoring food to not only give those nutrients, but also confer those health benefits. Yeah. Not limited to obesity, diabetes, and other diseases that people around the world tend to suffer from.
So for a student who goes to your class every week or every day in, day out, what are some of the things that they get exposed to? What are they learning on their day-to-day basis in your class?
Thank you very much for bringing up that. Students, which is something I'm quite passionate about. In fact, it's been said that, in fact, it's the truth. They are indeed the reasons why we are actually here at the university. So, to answer your question, yes, students get exposed to the world of food. Food might be seen as something we just consume, But in actual fact, it's a bit complex. Complex in the sense that it's got different things in it. The nutrients, there are compounds that are also called anti-nutrients, which are things that generally or naturally occur in food that unfortunately does not make those nutrients available to us, which is why we need to process food at times. So they get exposed to that world, they get exposed to how you transform food, what are the equipment you use to transform food, why do we even need to transform food? When you transform food, you cook it, what are certain modifications that happen to it? How do you blend the need to process food with the need for having optimal nutrients at the end of the day? So that world, in the broadest sense of it, is what my students get exposed to. And of course, at the postgraduate level, they are quite more focused because the assumption is in the undergrad, they get experience, and not only from me, from other colleagues also in my department.
Yeah.
So they get exposed to that broad world, but at the postgraduate level, from a master's or doctoral, then we tend to focus a bit more on a certain concept or sub-discipline of food science and technology.
Yeah.
Then we dive more into that. And indeed, that's the kind of thing I get to do every day.
Yeah. So there's this knowledge or notion that organic food is more healthier, and then food that has been, processed from faraway distances, even overseas, and imported into the country, refrigerated food that was put on ice or in cold rooms for over a period of time is not as healthy as the stuff that you get in your backyard or stuff that you go get from the market. What is the difference there in terms of food that's been frozen for a long time and then transported here, and food that people can get fresh from their gardens?
I'm smiling because it's a very contentious thing that you've actually brought up. Rightfully so, and it's actually good because as consumers, I'm also a consumer myself. We are more knowledgeable nowadays. Hence, we tend to ask more questions, which makes sense.
Yeah.
When you say organic foods, perhaps sticking to your definition of it.
Okay.
Foods which you get from your backyard and when you can just eat. That's great.
Or you can get from the market.
Or the market.
Yeah.
That's great. There's nothing bad about that. But in the world we live in, as it is now, it's more complex than what people foresee. What do I mean by that? We want to go to the store and get bread. But we have a choice to make bread at home every day. But realistically, how is that possible? Perhaps we wake up at different times, we need to be at work at 8. Can we really wait for that process of making bread very early in the morning, get kids to school, stuck in traffic? Hence, by default, we need to process foods for a number of reasons. One of them being to make it readily available, to make it shelf-stable also. Our bread nowadays perhaps takes 5 days to expire, 6 days somewhere there.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. And all of that comes into the world of food science, food technology, and food processing, because it's something that we have to do to make food available to us all the time. Look at Lucky Star, for example.
Yeah.
You have your canned products. Some might classify that as processed foods, and indeed it is, because you have fish, which you cannot just leave on a shelf. Even for a day in your kitchen, it will rot.
Yeah.
So there's a reason behind it. It's not because people just want to make food. I'm looking for the right word people use now.
Yeah.
Some call it ultra-processed. Some say food has been damaged. Some say it's not edible anymore. And those different conspiracy theories that people rock about. But point being, processing is necessary, and it does not necessarily negatively impact the nutrients in them. Some might even argue that there are ways by which processing increases or improves the nutritional value of food.
Yeah.
So perhaps the public should gear that more knowledge and insight more towards that in terms of instead of bastardizing food processing as it is.
Now, there are foods that on the food labeling, they would have no preservatives and stuff. Just tell us a little bit about that. How is that important?
So, again, preservatives are indeed what you call it out to be. It's something you deliberately add to food to preserve it. in essence, to extend the shelf life. Instead of something that will stay for a day or two, you add in something to food to make it stay for 3 months, 6 months, and the likes. In fact, some might even argue that that is quite important for countries, for places in the world that do not necessarily have the luxury that you and I currently enjoy, where you just go to a store, there are malls nearby, but you can imagine people living in remote areas. Countries that are dealing with war, with these geopolitical issues, where they get supply of food once in a month, once in 2 months. In that system, you unfortunately need preservatives to make your food shelf stable more than it normally should be. So I'm trying to, in essence, say preservatives are deliberately added to food to extend the shelf life, making it readily available for you and I, such that when we get to the store, we can grab it.
And it's not a bad thing?
From my best of knowledge, it's not.
Okay.
By not adding preservatives, there's also nothing wrong with that. But again, the goal is what we should focus on.
Yeah.
Do you want to make it more readily available for a longer time? I think you would need preservatives. You don't pretty much have much of a choice. If that's not the intention, then pretty much that's it.
Yeah. So every food item,
yes,
any food you can think of, if you go to any store, you buy any product, it will have what you call the typical nutritional value. It will give you the energy, the protein, the cholesterol, dietary fiber, all that stuff. In grams, sometimes in milligrams, because obviously the stuff comes in small quantities in each product. How important is that stuff for a university like ours? I know that our restaurants don't have the nutritional value information on each food item that you would buy, or a meal on a plate. What the UJ Healthy Campus program, which is a global initiative, encourages is that restaurants should actually inform their consumers of their food, of that kind of stuff, that if you buy this plate of food, you should know that it's got so much calories, so many kilojoules of energy, protein, etc. How does that play a role in terms of that? Are we there in South Africa, or?
Perhaps I would say we're not there yet, but in some way I would say we're getting closer. Because again, I do know there are conversations around strengthening the current regulations we have when it comes to food labeling. And back to your point, indeed, it's quite important, because as consumers, we should be informed about the amount or the composition of what we are consuming. Will I be getting enough protein from this? If I don't need so much calories, if it's that much, should I really still consume it or not? Then it's my choice to make. But at least the manufacturers are making that obvious to me, enough for me to make a decision. So pretty much, I'm re-emphasizing the point of saying it's quite important. However, like you rightly said, I don't think as a country we're there yet. In other parts of the world, for example, if you go to burger shops, as you buying your burger, as you selecting the extra cheese, as you selecting the drink or whatever soda you want with it, it's actually telling you the amount of calories you would be getting at the end of the day. So directly or indirectly, it's helping you making those healthy, informed choices. However, currently in the country, I don't think we're there yet. So your burger shops that we currently have in the country does not necessarily have those. And coming back to the Healthy Campus, I think it's an initiative that should be pushed, should be encouraged for people that are selling foods to students in our student centers to actually have that information available. Because like you rightly said, it's necessary if we really want to have that Healthy Campus initiative. Yeah. It helps people to make that choice. And there is quite a lot that are tied to food nowadays. We started with that conversation. Food can actually lead to obesity when you're consuming too much fat, and it also depends on the type of fat anyway. Yeah. Too much calories and all of that. So by buying something and knowing how much of certain nutrients, certain calories, certain fats perhaps that I'm getting from it, might make me think twice of saying perhaps this is not the best way to go, and let me rather do something. So indeed, it's something that can be encouraged, it's something that should be encouraged, and hopefully we'll get there someday.
Yeah. So in these modern day lifestyles that we live, everything is so fast. We are busy with our studies as students, we are busy with work as staff members. There are these things called meal replacements. Smoothies, usually you can buy them in a smaller bottle.
Cups.
Yeah. Obviously, that is not, it's food, but it's not really food like the stuff that we're going to prepare here today.
Okay.
How different is that from the normal food like this? From somebody like you who runs a center that deals with that kind of stuff. Maybe some people might say, I don't like meal replacement stuff, but some people say, well, it's as good as food. It's got the stuff that food has. What do you say about that?
Okay, so again, we need to be cautious on how we deal with that and how we engage with that concept. Food is essential for human survival. We need it to survive, to sustain, for our organs and a lot of that. So replacing a meal, that meal, quote and unquote, should be enough to sustain us. So for someone who wants to depend on smoothies alone, I don't think that's the best of choices. Because really, you perhaps wouldn't get much. Your smoothies perhaps from your carrots, from things like that. Of course, it's a lot of vitamins, but you also need proteins. You need calories, actually. You need carbohydrates for effective functioning. And you need a whole lot of other nutrients for our daily living. So perhaps we should be cautious in it replacing our meals. It's great to do. It's good to have it. Perhaps instead of having your normal sodas that has a level of sugar or contribute to your calories, getting smoothies perhaps could be a better choice. Because then you know those are from plants, they're minimally processed in a way. Those are things you could even be doing at home. Perhaps get a smoothie, keep in the fridge. But again, comes back to our earlier conversation. Because it's from fresh fruit, because it doesn't have preservatives in there, you can't really keep it for too long. So it's something you would want to consume as soon as possible. So to answer you, yes, it's great, but it should not be replacing our meals. From what we do as a center, yes, we also do things like that. But again, specifically geared toward the industry as well. Because we're looking for the concept. In that sense, it will be more of a larger implementation to a larger population, to something of commercial value that makes business sense. You get what I mean? So indeed we do that, perhaps in a slightly different way, but it's the same principle. You're getting a juice out of something, or the pulp, and because you know it contains a couple of things that is beneficial to your body, yes, but not to replace your normal daily eating.
Okay. So for somebody that is a gym bunny, somebody that likes going to gym and they make a smoothie before gym or after gym, what are some of the type of foods that they can include in that, the thing that makes the smoothie? What ingredients should they have? Some people would say, I can put in some Evo in there, I can put in this and that. Some people mix even some weird things. They would have this green thing here that's got this and this and that. But what would be the right things to put in there that would actually contribute towards them achieving their fitness goals and living healthy?
Okay, so I wouldn't want to take it away from the sports scientists and the nutritionists who actually deals much more in details on that. But in answering that, we should also not generalize. What am I saying? We have different metabolic needs, different nutritional needs also. So if the smoothie before and after works for person A, works for you, for example, might not necessarily work for me. So it depends on my makeup and a whole lot that is happening within me. Is it a good thing to do? I think so. I also go to the gym just to exercise, sweat out a bit from now and then. I don't necessarily do that. I'm good with water. But is it a good thing to do? I think so, from my opinion. You could have your veggies there, a bit of protein perhaps also. I know there is this protein isolates, whey proteins, which people use to make shakes. And the gym freaks, sorry to say, also tend to depend a lot on that. Apparently it helps with muscle building. And I'm not sure I haven't proven that. That's not really much of my space. But pretty much, I'm in essence saying, first, it might not work for everyone. And two, we should be cautious in what we eat, what we consume, and not just model our lifestyle according to what everyone does. because you don't want to end up starving yourself, really. And your body needs and metabolism are slightly different, actually different, person to person.
Yeah. You are a Y1 NRF-rated researcher. What type of research do you conduct, and in which spaces is the research being used? Of course, we are in an academic space. You contribute to journals, but I just wanted to find out which other industries are you contributing your knowledge to?
Thank you so very much. So pretty much of our research is geared towards the food manufacturing industry, so your FCMGs.
Yeah.
Pretty much in that space, beverages, a number of them, those working with grains, with veggies, and a whole lot of that. But our more emphasis really more on the processing side of manufacturing, much more on that. And that's where most of our research tend to fit in. And of course, like you rightly said, academia, publications, capacity development as well. Because we earlier started that conversation about students, and that's also something we do as a center. And we also offer services to the industry. They engage with us from time to time. They need us perhaps to solve certain problems, to collaborate on certain concepts, bring certain ideas into life. So yeah, in that space, we tend to work with the food industry as broadly as it could be.
Okay. The type of student that leaves your class as a graduate, what type of skills do they get out of what you teach?
So our food technology graduate students, which could either be your diploma student or advanced diploma student or honors, they tend to dive into the world of food processing or food manufacturing. So they are with your food safety, they are dealing with your quality assurance, they even do audits, they do on the processing line, product development as well. And they find, trust me, they are spread around in different industries. And there are a couple of them who are actually, not a couple, quite a number of them, who are even in managerial roles, actually in the food industry. R&D managers, innovation managers, quality assurance managers, food safety specialists. Some have even gone into consulting as well. So yes, our students that we graduate from the Department of Biotechnology and Food Technology, they are actually spread around different industries in the country.
So thank you very much to Prof for that beautiful meal there. And of course, UJ is turning 20 years old this year and Lucky Star is by our side. Prof, your message to the university community, please.
From all of us at the Center for Innovative Food Research, we want to say happy birthday, UJ. Thank you for all you've done. Thank you for all you are doing. Thank you for what you will do, contributing to teaching, contributing to capacity development, being at the forefront of knowledge generation, and being a truly Pan-African and global institution that offers a holistic world-class education. Thank you, UJ. Looking forward to many more years.
Powerful message from a powerful academic right here at the great University of Johannesburg. You watching this episode, please send us your birthday messages on Facebook, X, and Instagram to wish UJ a happy 20th birthday, and you could stand a chance to win a 2,000 Rand Lucky Star hamper at the end of this cooking series in the second semester. All you need to do is text or record your video message, post it on social media, and tag the University of Johannesburg using the hashtag UJ Lucky Star Cooking Show, and you could be the winner. This is all we had for today's show on UJ What's Cooking with our beautiful and talented academic Prof Adebo right here on UJ TV. We hope that you found this episode enriching and that you will be cooking up a storm in your kitchen as you forge ahead with your work or your studies right here at the great University of Johannesburg. Be sure to catch yet another episode of UJ What's Cooking next week, Friday at 12 noon, same place, same time. Please subscribe to UJ TV YouTube channel and follow us on all social media platforms at UJ Sport, at Lucky Star, UJSTH, and the Center for Ecological Intelligence as we bring you more inspiring daily content. Keep cooking with Lucky Star to find joy in the taste of home. Cheers.